Well, much to talk about there as the offseason goes on, but maybe these quarterback-needy teams can just get Lamar Jackson, right? Because some of the franchise tag guys we're talking about, it seems as though that no-brainer that he would be franchise tagged if they can't figure out a deal here. But that situation has been so strange, Chris, for so long now that I don't think a divorce completely is off the board in this situation. What do you think about Lamar here? We have a question in from one of our homies out there, Masterclass FC. Which tag would you give Lamar? Risk giving him the non-exclusive tag with the hope that nobody offers him a fully guaranteed deal? Yeah, I'm like, what are the Ravens thinking? Yeah. What is Lamar thinking right now?
Well, I mean, first off, it seems like franchise tags are inevitable, right? I mean, we've yet. And again, I know this doesn't sound great and whatever, and you know this, and I know some people don't think this, but I mean, I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. I mean, I want to see him get paid and all that. But am I hopeful that a real long-term deal is going to get done? Absolutely not. I mean, come on. The proof's in the pudding. We've not seen any type of deal done with Lamar Jackson in any stratosphere, in any walk of the business. You know, you heard me talk about it last week. You know, Mike did a good job sticking up for me. You know, there's money from apparel deals that have been left on the table, contracts that didn't come to fruition there because, you know, two sides couldn't meet and figure it out. So I have no hope that they're going to get something done here in the next 24 hours. So then the next part is, yes, is this the exclusive tag or the non-exclusive tag? I feel like I'd probably go non-exclusive tag. I feel like I would.
Which would mean what?
Which would mean that it's the price tag's at $32 million, and if they tagged him again the year after that, it jumps up to like $40-something million.
Okay.
All right, it's not crazy numbers as far as with a quarterback, but the non-exclusive tag also means that he can shop for other teams, and if a team makes him an offer that the Ravens can't match, then that team will have to send them 2 first-round picks, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what they have to lose. It's risky. Yeah, you lose Lamar Jackson, right? But you're going to get 2 first-round picks. But you also get the right to match that offer. So if it's an offer they can match and they go, okay, fine, you go set the market out there and figure it out what somebody else will pay you, and we'll see. And then when you come back to us with that offer, we'll see if we can match it. And if it's so crazy and maybe somebody throws him some Deshaun Watson-type contract, which I don't think is going to happen to anybody right now in football, then they would go, okay, well, we can't do that. We're going to have to give us the 2 first-rounders, and we're going to have to go to plan B and try to figure out another quarterback for the future. So, you know, I ask you that right there. Now, if they do the exclusive tag, it's going to be $45 million. And then if they were to do it again the next year, it's a substantial raise to where I believe it's like almost $60 million.
Okay.
Right? So it's incredibly more expensive. But, yes, you're also assured that nobody else can offer him a contract. He's exclusively yours, right? That's it. I explained it to you. I hope they're in somewhat good fashion. I hope everybody understood that. Pete, you can tell me if I explained it well enough. But either way, what would you do? I posed that question to you.
I mean, NBC is paying the NFL $1 billion a year. I feel like everyone's got the money. So is it like money really an object? Obviously, it's what you can't do with your roster, right? In the salary cap world.
Right.
And so that's for people smarter than me. But I don't know. Like, I think that this situation defies logic, right? It's one of those situations where does Lamar even want to be there anymore? Is he going to accept a franchise tag and show up for it? Where would he want to go? It's one of those situations I almost feel like it's impossible to predict how this is all going to go down.
It is impossible. I don't know if I have the right answer either. But what I would say that's working against Lamar is that here we are, definitely, you know, he's a running quarterback. We know he can play in the pocket. He's got a really damn good arm. We haven't ever seen him really have to carry the team that way totally, okay? And then also off of that, there's 2 years here in a row now where we're talking about the month of December, a guy who runs and plays a physical brand of football for the quarterback position has not been able to play. Mm-hmm. Does that sound like somebody you just want to go, hey, here's guaranteed money, just play as long as you want, we'll just keep giving you cash? You know, if I'm the Ravens and thinking about it that way, that would scare me. That would. And, you know, for maybe, I don't know the details of this, but for whatever he's offering or whatever type of contract he's offering, and obviously Baltimore doesn't want to buy into that quite yet, right? They're trying to negotiate. Maybe to the point where you just have to go, all right, shit, I throw my hands up. You go out there and see me. Who else is going to offer you something better than what we have? We know that he was offered $133 million guaranteed at signing, which is the greatest ever. I mean, it's better than Russell Wilson's. It's better than Kyler Murray's. It's better than everybody in the history of the sport, right? And that's not even the that's just the guaranteed at signing. And then you add on what the practical guarantee would have been, which was probably been a lot more. And when people might mean by that, what do you mean by the practical guarantee? Like, okay, the first year, here's the guaranteed money, but the second year the league starts, right? There's another lump sum of money that goes your way to where you're like, well, yeah, realistically, they're not going to cut him after 1 year and paying him $100 million. So that second year, he's also going to see the money, even though it's not guaranteed, right? It'd almost take a career-ending injury for him not to see that second money. So its practical guarantees were way above that, And now the problem is here's the Deshaun Watson contract and everything there has thrown things for a loop. But we'll see where it goes. I have no faith it's going to go, and I'm interested to see what they do. I feel like if I was them, because of the situation and how it's being handled, and I don't know exactly what he's asking, I wish I had more details, I'd probably go the non-exclusive franchise tag.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could get back compensation.
And very less, just like go out, like I said, call his bluff. Go look. Tell me who's going to offer you that. Tell me. Right? And then you go from there.
And just because I don't totally know, so those first-round picks, would those be picks from the signing team that they would have to give up?
Yeah.
So that depresses his market right there. So that's not a true free market either. So Lamar would get more if not for that compensation tagged onto him.
Yeah, right.
So Lamar would just say, oh, well, it's depressing my market. Screw you.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm going to sit back and watch like everyone else on Twitter and just wait for
all right, and then you get into that. You just go, what teams would
happening.
even like realistically do that, right? That's the other aspect of this.
Yeah.
What team? And to me, there's only two teams that you can even like. And again, you guys correct me if there's somebody I'm missing here. There's Washington, maybe. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if Ron Rivera would want to do that right now. It'd be interesting. But after Washington, the only other two teams I look at to even be in that conversation would be Atlanta and maybe Miami if they decided, we're scared about the long-term prognosis of Tua and the concussions and all that. After that, I have a hard time coming up with a third team that would really make sense or realistically make that move or do it. So, yeah, that's where it also can become very interesting.
How much is he worth? That is the question that is still being debated with Lamar Jackson, also being debated with Giants quarterback Daniel Jones. He and his guys think it's $45 million.
Yeah.
The Giants think it's less than that. Who knows exactly how much less. But you had an interesting conversation on PFT earlier today and a poll question out there. I think Mike threw this at you.
Mike threw this at me, just kind of out of nowhere. Exactly right.
He goes, would you rather have Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins? Just like straight up. And the homies have chimed in. 60% say Kirk Cousins, so they were listening when I put Kirk on my all under talked about team.
Sure.
And think that he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. I believe your answer, and I'm going to paraphrase, and forgive me if I'm mischaracterizing
good.
was that both teams should say no because both teams might be better with the guy they currently have.
Well, yeah, I mean, both are, one, is the way to break it down, at least in my eyes, is Daniel Jones has more potential to be greater than Kirk Cousins, right? He's a bigger man. Daniel Jones is one of the best running quarterbacks in football. His arm is stronger than Kirk Cousins, right? But you've only seen 1 year of success in doing that.
Under Brian Daboll, too.
Under Brian Daboll, too. Right. But he's had no support around him or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you can't disrespect Kirk Cousins and what he has done, right? He might not have some of the physical gifts, but, damn, he's good at playing the position. And, damn, it's every year it's like 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions or 7. So, that's one of those where, like, if you're the Giants, you'd go, well, no, this guy's got potential, and we like what we've seen, and we think he can surpass that. If you're Minnesota, you're going, wait, we don't know exactly what Daniel Jones can be. Are we just going to give Kirk Cousins away because we think maybe he might be better? I mean, if you're asking me to start a team today and do it, and I would probably go Daniel Jones, right? I like his potential. I do. And as we've discussed, I mean, Daniel Jones, it drives me crazy when people go, yeah, he had a bad O-line those first few years. No, not a bad. It was the worst. It wasn't even close. I mean, not even close. He had no chance to do anything.
I love that it bothers you that people are saying what you're saying, but you're not expressing it enough.
Enough. Well, no, not enough, because it became comical there. I mean, like, remember 2 years ago, I was literally like, he catches the ball in the shotgun, and he's literally like ducking a half second later, like it's like a video game, or like kids in a backyard playing against like professional defensive linemen. It was crazy.
You develop bad habits that way too for Daniel Jones. So.
But we'll see where this goes. This is another interesting one. You know, here's the problem: the market for the quarterbacks is around this price tag,
$45 million.
Around $45 million. It's not going to be very expensive. 3 or 4 years from now, people are going to go, oh, $45 million, so what? That's the going rate for an average quarterback or whatever, right? So there's that aspect. And then there's, of course, the Deshaun Watson contract on one end, which is stupid by the Browns. And then there is also the other aspect that I hear people already talking about. Whoa, he's going to get paid more than Patrick Mahomes. That's not Daniel Jones' fault or his agent's fault. Patrick Mahomes took a very team-friendly deal, and that's what he opted to do, right? So the market has passed him up. Yeah. I mean, the market's Patrick Mahomes, we're talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of football. Obviously, the market's passed him up. He don't give a shit. He wants Chris Jones and Kelsey and receivers there and all that. So that's what he's going to do. But that's confusing the market and the conversation a little bit. I'm shocked to hear plus $45 million a year as well. As a Giant fan, I'd like it to be less. Or can we find a way as the Giants to, you know, make the first 2 years of the contract maybe that kind of money, but have a year 3 and a year 4 on the contract that makes the overall yearly average lower, right? Mm-hmm. To where, okay, it helps our salary cap. And like we talked about this whole thing, you know, when they're not stuck if a year or two go by and it's not been good and Daniel Jones goes the wrong direction, to where the Giants are like, oh, I mean, we're just screwed. 4 years, here we are. We're stuck with Daniel Jones, and we're paying all this money. So hopefully they can find that sweet spot.
Mahomes is now 5th in average per year on his contract.
He's going to get passed by everybody. I mean, I wouldn't surprise if Jalen Hurts is going to pass him this year. Joe Burrow is going to pass him this year. And he don't give a shit. He doesn't care because he's going to keep the next ring's going to go on his middle finger, and he's going to go, how do you like that one? That's my third one.
But he's 5th. He is a top 5 quarterback, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
so
I think so. He's just barely making the top 5.
He's right in the ballpark of where he should be.
Yeah, just barely.
Speaking of team-friendly deals, when Josh Jacobs, Raiders running back, was talking to you and Florio at the Combine, he said he might take one of those team-friendly deals. I thought this was a really interesting quote. I love this quote, actually. He said basically he'd be okay to play on the franchise tag, but only if the team loaded up at all the other positions and added players around him. He goes, quote, if you want me to come back as the hero, you better pay me like a hero.
Yeah. Yeah, it's he's extremely talented, as we know. He's definitely a top 5 running back. They want to run the football and play that way. More than likely, I would expect them, you know, again, they're in that one of those spots at 7 where you're a little scared of who could be there. Are they going to trade up and make a move, make sure they get one of these guys, right? But, I mean, in my heart of hearts, I feel like the Raiders want a young quarterback, right? And, man, that would be nice to have, you know, a good running game behind it to kind of let him develop and having teams worry about that. Obviously going to get franchise tag, no doubt about it. You know, but then again, here's the conversation of what's the sweet spot for the running backs? What's realistic to pay them and be fair that way, right? And again, protect yourself. I will say he's, because of his college career, you know, he hasn't been run into the ground. He's not like there's some wear left on those tires. He's still got some tread.
This year he got run into the ground.
This year he got run in the ground, definitely. You know, but so where can they find that sweet spot? But either way, he's not leaving the Raiders as of right now. I would be shocked. He's going to get franchise tagged. They'll try to work something out that makes sense for both sides.
You talked to Josh McDaniels at the Combine.
Yeah.
It was actually at the Super Bowl that you talked to Josh Jacobs, but Josh McDaniels, he was raving about.
Yes,
Jacobs.
Yes, I think a lot of people thought Jacobs was maybe in the doghouse with the Raiders early in the year. McDaniels brought up a great point. He goes, I played him in that Hall of Fame game. He goes, because I want him to get hit then and just get it over with. So he gets all his hits. I used to know what's running between the tackles. You get used to that.
Yeah.
So and if he did get banged up or something like that, you got the whole next month to get healthy, right? But you've gotten that out of your system instead of like where you go the whole month of training camp, you're like, well, I haven't really been brought to the ground yet. I haven't really been hit. I haven't really had to, like, just go, I got to run through that hole and put my shoulder and head down and drive for first down yards, right? And no coach wants to make their running back do that for the first time. Hey, it's a real game, and it counts, right? So that's why he did it. I thought he made a good point. Yes, they love Josh Jacobs.
Quick hitters.
Yeah.
Another running back, franchise tag possibility, perhaps long-term deal. Who knows? Cowboys running back Tony Pollard.
They got to, I would say. I would think somebody's going to pay Tony Pollard if they don't watch out. So they got to, franchise tag him, and again, try to work on something that maybe lowers his number in the salary cap. But, yeah, he's interesting because of the broken fibula or tibula, whatever it is, the broken ankle, right?
Yeah.
But I still even think with that type of injury, that he'd probably get paid out there.
Usually broken bones are better than ligament tears and strains and all that
his
stuff.
happened late in the year, so that does hurt him.
Yeah.
That's one that's interesting. I would expect Zeke to be released here in the next 24 hours, very soon. But I would think Pollard is a franchise tag, and then the next one's a guarantee.
Jaguars tight end Evan Ingram.
Guarantee.
They got a lot of studs over there.
They got a lot
with
of
the
studs.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
They do. Evan Ingram has always had superstar ability.
Yeah.
He got here in New York and got in the vortex of criticism and dropped a few passes in big moments like we talked about, and he just needed to get the hell out of town. He got out of town, and they rebuilt his confidence, and at the end of the year, the last half of the season, he's in the conversation for one of the 3, 4, 5 best pass-catching tight ends in football. He's a weapon. I don't think he goes anywhere. Doug Peterson values that type of tight end. He was very important to Trevor Lawrence. He'll be there.
Take over a game type, right? And we saw it a couple of times. He just took
did.
over a game.
He did.
You throw it up to me, and I will catch it.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers game, right? The wild card game, he played really well. I mean, he had a bunch of games where he played really well. He's a specimen.
All right, we'll see how that all plays out here in the next couple of days. This is a really interesting time. We got free agency coming up. We'll talk about that, I think, next week quite a bit.
Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my Unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Peace out.